If you've just been told that you have type 2 diabetes, I just want you to stop for a second. Just take a breath, because I know what it feels like in that moment when you leave the doctor's office. Maybe you're in shock. Maybe you've just driven home and you just can't remember that drive. Maybe you've been sitting with this news for a few days and it still doesn't feel real, or maybe you're terrified. Not just about what it means for your health, but what it means for your life. Whatever you're feeling right now, it makes complete sense. And I want to spend the next few minutes with you because these things that matter the most to people never get told right after a type 2 diabetes diagnosis. Things that I think that you really need to hear. My name is Alan. I'm a counsellor, and supporting people through this exact kind of stuff is what I do on a daily basis. I've sat with many people who have received this diagnosis, people who have felt exactly the way that you might be feeling right now, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that it gets better. But first, let's talk about what really is going on. The first thing that nobody tells you about a diabetes diagnosis is this. What you are feeling is completely valid response to a significant life event. We live in that culture where we tend to jump very quickly to the practical. Here's your medication, here's a pamphlet, watch what you eat, come back in 3 months, and all of that matters, of course. But nobody actually stops and asks, how are you actually doing with this news? A diagnosis like this can bring up grief, real grief, not just sadness, but the kind of mourning for the life that you thought you were going to have, or the version of yourself that you didn't have to think about before, blood sugar levels every single day. That grief is legitimate. And please, don't minimize it. You might be also feeling anger. Why me? I've seen people who eat far worse than I do. I've been trying so hard, and that anger is valid as well. It doesn't have to be rational to be real. And then there is the guilt and the shame. And this one I really want to address directly, because it is one of the most damaging things that people carry after this diagnosis. Type 2 diabetes is not simply the result of eating too much sugar or not exercising enough. It's a very complex condition influenced by genetics, family history, hormones, stress, sleep, socioeconomic factors, and yes, lifestyle too. But lifestyle is only one piece of a very complicated picture. And if you have been blaming yourself, I'm asking you very, very gently to put that down. Because shame does not help you manage your health. It actually makes it harder. So the first thing I want you to do is give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to feel what you're feeling. Not forever, but right now. In these early days, that is one of the actual most productive things that you can do. The second thing is nobody actually warns you about the absolute tidal wave of information that is coming your way. Your GP gives you a pamphlet. Your specialist mentions metformin or other medications. Someone in your family texts you about a link about going keto. Your colleagues tell you their uncle reversed their diabetes by only eating meat. A stranger on Facebook tells you cinnamon will fix everything. And somewhere on YouTube, there's a man with a very strong opinion about seed oils. And none of them really agree to every single one of it. And it feels urgent, and you're already exhausted. And here's what I want to tell you. You do not need to solve this in the first 2 weeks. You generally do not. You simply do not. Your primary job right now is to follow the guidance of your treating healthcare team, your GP, your diabetes educator, your dietitian. Your dietitians play a massive role in this scenario. And take one step at a time. Take one step at a time. Write down your questions as they come up. Keep a little notebook or use your phone. Then bring those questions to the next appointment and ask every single one. You are allowed to ask things to be explained again and again and again until you understand. You are allowed to say, I don't understand. You are allowed to ask, what does this actually mean for my daily life? A good healthcare team will welcome those questions, and if you ever feel rushed or dismissed, that is important information. You deserve to feel heard in your own healthcare. And when it comes to information online, be very selective. There are a lot of noise out there, and stick to reputable sources, accredited health organizations, and qualified professionals. And please be careful about anyone online who promises a cure or tells you to throw away your medications. Just always be careful. Now I want to tell you the thing that I wish every newly diagnosed person could hear in the very first week. A type 2 diabetes diagnosis is not the end of your life. It is not the end of your life. It is not even the end of a good life. For many people I've worked with, it has actually become a turning point. The moment that they really begun paying attention to their body, their stress levels, their sleep, their relationships with food, in a way they simply haven't had before. And I want to be honest with you, because here, I honestly think you deserve honesty, then you deserve false comfort. Not everyone is able to bring their blood sugar back into normal range. For some people, medication is going to be a long-term part of life, and that is okay. There is no failure in that. Medication exists to help you, and using it is not giving up. But I've also worked with people who have made steady, sustainable changes over time, not overnight, and not dramatically, and who have saw their numbers improve in ways that generally surprise the doctors. That is not a guarantee, but it's a possibility, and you deserve to know that possibility exists. What the research constantly tells us is this: with the right support and the right information, and this is the part people often underestimate, the right mindset, people with type 2 diabetes live full, active, long and meaningful lives. You're not broken. You're not a failure. You're not a diagnosis. You are a person who has just received some important news about your health, and now you get to decide with support what to do with it. As a counsellor, there is a pattern that I see over and over again in the people that I work with after a diabetes diagnosis. The physical side of management gets enormous attention. It does. It really does. Blood sugar levels, HbA1c medications, carbohydrates, exercise. Yes, all of that is extremely important and necessary. But the emotional side, it is almost always left completely unaddressed. And that is a real problem. That is a real problem, and I believe strongly. Because here's what I know. Your emotional state and your physical state are not separate things. Chronic stress raises blood sugar. Anxiety makes it harder to make good choices. Burnout around managing a health condition, which is sometimes called diabetes distress, is extremely common, and it directly impacts how well somebody is able to look after themselves. Diabetes distress is the feeling of being overwhelmed by it's just a relentless, ongoing, and that constant monitoring about the worry of what you ate, the fear of long-term complications, the frustration when your numbers don't actually reflect the effort you've put in. It is real, it is valid, and it is incredibly common. If you are feeling this, you are not weak. You are human. Depression and anxiety are also significantly more common in people living with type 2 diabetes than in a normal general population. This is not a character flaw. There are biological, psychological, and social reasons for this, and it is treatable. So here is what I want to encourage you. Please don't try to manage this alone. Talk to somebody that might be a counselor or a psychologist who works with people that living with chronic illness. It might be diabetes support group, either in person or online, whether you can connect with people who generally understand what you're going through. It might even be a trusted friend or family member, and it might be your GP. Whatever that looks like, please reach out, because you will manage your physical health so much better when your emotional health is also being supported. And if you're watching this and you're thinking, I could really use some support right now, I want to let you know that's exactly why I do this work. As a counselor, I work with people who are navigating exactly what you're going through right now. The emotional weight of a new diagnosis, the overwhelm and the fear and the uncertainty about what comes next. You don't have to figure out this all on your own. If you'd like to work with me directly, all of my contact details are in the description below and the pinned comments as well. I'd love to hear from you. So let me leave this with you. You've just been given some important information about your health. And yes, it is a lot to take in. It's okay if it takes time to settle. It's okay if you don't have it all figured out right now. Nobody does in the beginning. But what I hope you take away from this video is this: you are not alone in this. The feelings you're having make sense. The confusion is normal, and there is a genuine reason for hope. Take it one day at a time. Be patient with yourself. Lean on your healthcare team. And if you ever need somebody to talk to, I'm here. And if this video has helped you in any way, please give it a like, and it generally helps others, people in your exactly same situation, find this when they need it the most. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments. I do read every single one of them, and I'll do my best to respond. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.